All right, so Natasha, I'm looking at your deal.
Yeah.
This is Hampstead Hill. Did offer price 800 grand. Are you direct to vendor?
Yes.
And remind me, how many bed is this?
It's a 5-bed.
And what's the market value? Is that the market value?
Yes, it is.
How do you know?
I've looked at other property prices in that area. The house could actually go for more than that with the land that it actually has. But
Can I
yeah,
ask
that's
you
the
which
average.
tools have you used?
I've used Nimbus Maps and I've used can't remember what it's called now. Property Filter, which
Property filter.
which searches all the areas as well, like
Okay.
Rightmove.
Okay. Well, you gotta use. Here is the best way to do it. Okay.
Okay.
Most of these data companies cannot give you a close to accurate answer because the data is like past data, and past
Yeah.
data is not a good predictor of future data. Okay? The best way that I do it is I still use that data, but I would normally look at similar property sizes in the closest proximity and then work out a number. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
And you can use Zoopla, Rightmove, they are the best, but that's how you got to do it. Like I said, the closest proximity, sometimes even a house down the road can be worth double the money just because one street down, it's a lot more posh, things change, and all of a sudden you're paying double the price, okay?
Yeah.
You still can use previous data plus Rightmove, Zoopla are normally good indicators, okay? Especially if you know the intricate details of the region, okay? So let's say it's worth about 800 or more, okay?
Yeah.
Deposit does not depend on 10%, it depends on the usage. What are you looking to use this for?
With that appraisal that I put in, it was for me to buy the property and use Penn's finance tools that you have.
Okay, but what would be
I'm actually
what would be the use?
It would be a family home.
Yeah, so family home as in you would live in it or someone else would live in, like, would it be a
I would
commercial
live
use
in
or a
it.
residential use? That's what I'm trying to work out.
No, it would be a residential use.
So someone would live in as in,
yeah,
like you would buy and you would live in it.
yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Okay, so for that you need you can have a residential mortgage at 10%, but you gotta have the income for it. Okay.
yeah,
So trying to understand. So if you, let's say, had the income, you would need, if you put down 10%, that's 80 grand. You would need a mortgage of 720 grand. You're going to need an income of about 150 grand or more a year to be able to get a mortgage of 720 grand. Okay. They're normally multiples of anywhere between 4 to about 6, depending on what you do. So if it's a contractor, let's say it's a doctor working on a contract, okay? They can get sometimes up to 6 multiples, while a doctor who is working for NHS on a employed income may only get about 5 multiples, okay? Or someone who's doing a different kind of job may only get about 4.5 multiples. So you look at those multiples and say, what kind of income do you need to be able to get to 720 grand? I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about P and funding, this deal does not even come even close to the kind of deals that we fund. Okay. So yeah. See, the only way you can know what kind of deals we fund is when you actually attend all these sessions. Okay. Yeah. Unless you don't do that, you wouldn't even know. Okay. Going back, conveyancing, stamp duty, 67,000, refurb cost 25 grand to complete loft conversion and rear landscaping. Is that the only value add that you have, or can you do more than that with property?
Yeah, could do a lot more than that. Yeah. Okay. It has a lot of potential. Yeah.
I can check this on Nimbus Maps and look at the potential. by just looking at ordnance survey map
Yeah.
and working out if other properties in the region have been extended, you know, either to the back, to the into the loft side, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. You can very easily
Yeah.
work this out on Nimbus maps, or even, you know, ordnance survey maps like
Yeah.
the one I shared previously, which is OS data, right?
Yeah. I did
Okay.
go through it with Demir, and we found that some of the neighbours within the area were actually selling bits of land to each other in order to create things that they, you know, wanted to
Yep.
extend or build on their property.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this particular house does have a lot of.
Yeah. So something like this, it's very easy, right? You can look at this house and say, on this road or a street up or a street down, which other property of similar size has been extended and where have they extended? Okay.
Yeah.
And this data is pretty easy to gather from Nimbus Maps, Ordnance Survey. There's lots of free tools. You don't even need Nimbus Maps. You can use OS data website, which I've shared previously as well. Okay. Now, total cash needed, well, from what you've worked out, unless there's more value that can be added, from what you worked out, 25, total cash in 178 grand. The reason you've calculated this as a 178 grand is because you looked at this as a residential funding rather than a commercial funding. Okay.
Yeah.
When you look at the same property from a commercial funding perspective, all of a sudden your deposit goes from 10% to 25%.
Okay.
Okay. We don't fund properties like that at all. Okay. They are not worth either the time or the money for us to get involved. Okay. The kind of deals, let me share with you so you can see through. I can see here money in, money out, 272, end property value 1.1. How have you come to the end property value 1.1, please?
The value that would be added after the refurb is complete.
So here is how lenders look at something like this. Okay, I've been through a similar process. Okay, they would say, okay, you bought the property for 800, you did a minor refurb, justify 1.1 million. Okay, the only way you can justify something like this is when you tell them that we ended up buying the property below market value. Here are the stats that we gathered when we bought it, and it was worth already £1 million when we bought it. Okay. Otherwise, it's a very highly likely that when you apply for refinance, the lender is going to walk in, or the valuation guy is going to walk in and say, well, you bought it for 800, you invested another maybe 50, it's worth 850, and that's the norm. That's the norm. Okay. And so your calculation doesn't quite go too far unless I have data to justify that this property is worth more than 800. Okay. Now, going back to your main question about this deal. Okay. Your main question is, can we do this deal? The answer is no, because it's a really bad deal. Okay. Because once you do a deal like this in Birmingham, because it's out of the sweet spot of 500 grand, it's worth 1.1 million, let's say. It's not easy selling properties worth £1 million, even in London.
Yeah.
Okay. You would probably sit in the market for at least 12 to 24 months before you sell this property. Okay. So whoever is going to fund it, he still has to be paid an interest payment for funding the deal. Either it's me or someone else. So it just becomes a really bad deal. Let me give you a very good replica of a deal that I've done, so you can see how a deal can really stack well. Okay.
Yeah.
So market value, it came at 350. We bought it at 220. This is data objectively driven numbers. So we got 130 grand discount right from day one. We ended up adding 11 more rooms to the property, or there was 3 rooms that were not getting used, which were downstairs on the ground floor, and there was another 8 rooms which were not getting used just because they needed a major refurb. So we ended up adding 11 more operational rooms into the property. It's a hotel, commercial property, but you will be able to see through where I'm going with this. Okay. We ended up added 11 more operational rooms. There was 20 when we bought it. Now it's 31. We spent 65 grand refurbing the property between refurb and electric work. So the cost to us is about 285 plus legals and so on, 290. Now, because we went from 20 rooms to 31 rooms, the value went from 350 to 500 grand. Can you see that where I'm going with this? With 20 rooms, it was valued at 350. Now with 11 rooms, it's now worth $500,000, especially with the refurb, right? So we not just that we got a property below market value, 130 grand, and I can show you on literally I've shown in previous sessions as well. You can find 20-30% below market values all day long from Zoopla and Rightmove. Okay. Have you seen those sessions, Natasha?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. So going into the market with the kind of knowledge you already have and buying a market value property, first step, wrong. Are you with me? Okay.
Yeah.
When you can go into the market and find something that's 20% discounted or 25 or 30% discounted, why would you go and pay market value for something? So we ended up paying 130 grand less than what it was worth. And then we ended up doing 65 grand refurb. And with refurbs, here's a little bit of a trick that you need to know. For every £1 you spend on a refurb, you normally add anywhere between £1 or £2 more. Okay? So when we spent 65 grand, we added value worth 150 grand on top of that to the property. Okay. Market value 350, added another 150. Now it's worth $500,000. Now we bought it for 220. Literally, it's all money out deal all day long.
Okay.
We will fund a deal like that. Hi, Ahmed. Hi, Ahmed, sir. Okay. We'll fund a deal like that all day long. But if you bring me a market value property at market value from the market at market value, or even if you're direct to vendor at market value, it's of no use to us.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Okay. I can, like I said, I can go in the market. I have a collaboration with someone who is actually in our franchise group. He is one of the biggest people who runs ads and finds below market value deals. He can bring me below market value deals all day long, 20-30% all day long. So if I wanted to buy properties like that, I'd go into the market, buy these properties and sit on that sort of income. Our model does not even justify that, to be honest. Okay, it's more like our model is based on find a deal where you don't necessarily have to put in a lot of money. And even if you do, that it means you're practically doubling your money, like what I've shared on the previous deal. But in most cases, you shouldn't have to put any of your money. It's what you call risk mitigation.
Yeah.
Okay. That is exactly why we work on option agreements rather than going and buying deals from the market. Exactly the reason we work on direct to vendor leads, because if you go into the market and say, I'm looking to sign an option agreement, no one's going to give it to you. When you go direct to the vendor and you can then build that rapport, build that trust, justify the value you're going to bring to the deal. In most cases, here is what happens, okay? When you speak with a landlord of a really large detached house or a piece of land or whatever it is, right? And let's say their property is worth £1 million. They want to make 101.1 million or 1.2 million. But if you can add a value worth £1 million into the deal, that's when you can go to the landlord and say, okay, I'll pay you 1.1, 1.2 million more than the market value.
Yeah.
But that would be based on option agreement. So you don't necessarily have to bring any of your own money, except obviously that goes into architects, planners, and legals. And you're leveraging on the vendor's finance to be able to make that £1 million value. And then out of that £1 million, you can pass on maybe 10-20% to the land.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So that's how you got to look at deals. Even when you look at any deal, even if it's a refurb deal like this, as long as you find it below market value, as long as you can see that you can do the refurb without any major risk, and then you can double the value, including the below market value percentage that you got, then it becomes a good deal. Does that make sense? So let's say you buy this for 800. Let's say it's actually hypothetically, let's say it's worth 1 million. You go in, you do a refurb at 200 grand. Now it's worth 1.6, 1.7 million. Then it becomes a good deal. Then it's a deal that, we can look at and say, okay, you know what, if it needs 300 grand to raise and raise the rest in debt, then we'll do it. Because at the end of it, you look at it and say, well, I've just made 500,000 or more from just one single deal.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Remember, all of this is a lot of gray area. There's no black and white answer. Black and white only comes in when you actually are looking at a deal and doing very, very detailed numbers in terms of the refurb. You're looking at the OS data and saying, how far can we extend this property? I ended up buying one of my properties. The deals that I did was I bought it. It came in the market at 330. We bought it at 285. This is a different deal. So we got 45 grand discount right day one. I ended up investing 80 grand on the refurb. Okay. And now it's worth 500,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a residential property rented out on a single AST, which is, I hate the space, but luckily I have a reasonably good tenant, which means that I get paid my rent on time and there's no mess around.
Yeah.
But that's a deal that we did. Again, if you look at the numbers, £45,000 day one when we took the keys. Okay. And then we ended up spending 80 grand. And then now it's worth 500,000. Plus it's bringing me roughly about just shy of about 800 grand in net passive income. Okay. And it's in actually one of the highest capital growth areas in the country. So I'm looking to keep this property for as long as I have a good tenant, or maybe just use it for, rent-to-rent basis, give it to a rent-to-rent management company or whatever. But keep that property because I'm gonna look back at this property 10 years later or 12, 13 years later, it'll probably double in value. Okay. Yeah. So you got to look at all three layers of profits in a deal. First layer is below market value when you buy it. Second is value add. And third is if you can put it, like hold it in your portfolio and enjoy the passive income. So there's three layers of profits in any deal for that matter, depending on how you structure it and how you want to deal with it and how you want to, if you want to sell it or you want to keep it. But there's always three layers of profits.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the second deal that I just shared with you, there's three layers of profit that I actually made. First step, bought it cheaper, 45 grand. Second step, we ended up adding value worth about 120 grand on top of the refurb money. So we bought it for 280. We ended up spending, in fact, we bought it for 285. Sorry, 285. We ended up spending 80 grand on the refurb, 365 plus there was another 15 grand. So the cost plus was about 380. And now it's worth 500,000, so 120 grand additional value. And then I've also used the third step, which is holding on to our portfolio and then enjoying the passive income. Okay. I hope that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
So if you were to look at your deal and say, well, let's say it's worth 1.1 and we are getting for 800, day one, 300 grand. We add additional value. We go and spend maybe 200 grand on top of it. The cost to us is now £1 million. But now the property is worth 1.6, 1.8 million, becomes a good deal.
Okay.
Yep.
Lovely.
Okay. And you can find deals like that all day long on Zoopla and Rightmove. Like I can sit on it and do this all day long. All day long. I can find you 20 properties in a day on Rightmove and Zoopla if this was the business model I was pursuing.
Okay.
Okay. The challenge with the deal like that is, unless you have your own money, selling it to someone else becomes a bit of a challenge because it's actually a property on the market, and then you can't go and charge a sourcing fee easily unless you have a footballer sitting somewhere and has absolutely no time and has made you the go-to person and say, well, you know what? You do deals like that for me. You make me 100 grand, I'll give you 10 grand out of it. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to charge a sourcing fee. I do know agents who are connected to footballers. They completely represent footballers and they find these properties for even on the market. They go and do these refurbs for them and then they hand out the keys. It's more like a turnkey process they do for footballers and they make quite decent money. I know one person very well. He makes well over £1 million a year.
Yeah.
And he is in every single football match you can imagine. Every single football match.
Well, I'm connected to footballers, very well-known footballers. But my problem is, my personal problem is the appraisals, getting the numbers right, getting my deals right in order to put things across.
Yeah, you have to present skills, otherwise why would they give it to you?
Yeah. So I appreciate this. So thank you very much.
Sit on more appraisals, Natasha. Sit on more appraisals, because every deal is different. There are deals that you only need 10%. There are deals that you might need 25%. There are deals that you might not even be able to do it at 50%. There's all sorts of deals, right? You have to sit down on appraising these deals. The more you sit, the more easier it gets. If you observed, I shared with you a spreadsheet of hotels and blocks. Okay, I shared with you a template for the development deals. I've just appraised this deal in a very gray way. That's all I can do at this stage. But you have to be looking at more deals that are appraised, so you can see through a bit more.
Yeah. Thank you.
And appraisals are not easy, guys. I can tell you. I
They're
mean,
not.
even when I'm doing appraisal now, that I've been through. I mean, probably I've seen at least 1,000 appraisals in my life. I still cannot do appraisals very accurately. I can still get numbers wrong. Okay. But the way to do it is, if there is a number that you don't know how to find objectively, then you reach out to the person who can. Okay. Don't just assume a number. That is where it's important. Okay. So if there's some data that you need that you don't have access to, or someone who can do it better than you, for example, we have Jasim in the team, I will pay him happily to do an appraisal for me if something that I don't understand. To give you an example, I remember sending him an appraisal, and he looked at the property. He said, there's actually electric wire that goes above the piece of land, so it's actually not going to be easy building something on it. I would have never picked that up. I would never be able to pick something like this up. He's technical. He's actually he's done engineering in that space, so he knows technical stuff. I would have not known unless I would have hired an electrician to visit the site and then, be able to give me his report. Are you with me on this? So you have to be, and when you go back to the planning gain steps sheet, this aspect is actually on the sheet that you will see, that you have to be able to see what they call the abnormals of the site. Okay. So this is actually on the sheet. This is not something that I'm just telling you. It's something that's in writing that you can see and learn and be able to assess sites. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because I did hit a number and I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, how do I work through this? And you can feel a bit silly, So
that's okay. I appreciate
you sharing that.
Don't feel silly. I promise you, there is absolutely no stupid question. Okay?
Yeah.
If you had asked me all of this stuff about 15 years ago, I would have not known nothing. A lot of what I'm sharing with you, I've only learned in the past 5 years. Okay?
Yeah.
Please do not feel embarrassed asking a question. There's absolutely no question you can ask me that's stupid. Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
So please do ask. Okay? Good stuff.
You.
All right, guys. Actually, Natasha had given me a deal to appraise in Birmingham. And so, Natasha, jump on a call with me a bit later on, whenever you get time, later today or tomorrow. We need to discuss the postcodes that you need to cover. Okay. Otherwise, the team is pretty blind on that space at the moment. So,
lovely.
So if you need to go, you can, Natasha. I know you might be.
Will do. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
All right. I'm here to show you my face until you get bored with it. Okay. So tell me, how can I help you guys?
I've got a few deals I've had come my way which I need help appraising.
Please share the numbers. Please share context and numbers. We can do it right now.
Yeah. So one is a hotel. I don't have much information on it. I'm waiting for more information, but I know it was an auction, so I've got some details from the auction brochure. I'm happy to share it on here. Should I put it on screen?
Can I share something with you? I'm happy to appraise the deal, but you're wasting your time looking at auction properties.
Okay.
Okay. I'll tell you why. Okay. Puneet, you've got Indian background. There are more Indian millionaires sitting on £50 million plus sitting in auctions that you and me can't beat. Okay.
This is taken off of auction.
It's taken off of auction.
Yeah,
okay.
so
Well,
it was
that's something we can look at. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been taken
so
off.
get me the basic overview numbers. Okay. Basic context of the deal, and I can appraise it for you. I was just appraising this deal for Natasha. Market value deal. Why would you buy a market value deal when you can buy on Zoopla and Rightmove 20% discounted all day long? And then she's looking at, from a residential perspective, buying a property worth 800 grand. Eventually, it will be worth 1.1 million in Birmingham. How are you going to take an exit? It's out of sweet spot. A lot of people get this wrong. I have seen more developers going bust because they don't understand sweet spot. Sweet spot means every region has a sweet spot price. If you go beyond that sweet spot price, you will sit on that property for 1, 2, 3 years. I've been through that process where we had one unit in a development which was beyond the sweet spot. We struggled selling it. Okay. And then developers go bankrupt. Okay. So going back to the deal that you mentioned, come back with the basic numbers overview. I can appraise most deals pretty quickly. It's called, in the industry, they call it the fact packet appraisal. Okay.
Yeah.
Not very, I mean, the one Natasha was sharing, it took me like 3-4 minutes to appraise. Okay. I'm looking at it. What's the market value? It's likely more than 800. Likely doesn't mean anything. It's an assumption. Okay. I need objective data to look at any deal and say, is it worth what is being asked for? Have you got a decent 20-30% discount? Objectively proven on paper? And if yes, then we can say, okay, let's say we're getting it 20% discounted. Okay, I can look at Zoopla and Rightmove and I can find you property deals 20% discounted all day long, right? All you have to do is use that feature. Everyone knows, please raise your hand if you know how to use that feature.
Yeah.
So you go and find something that's 20% discounted. You look at the property and say, well, the next door has extended 12 meters at the back, has put an extended floor at the back, has put a side extension of another 6 meters, has put a loft up. All of a sudden, you're doubling the size of the property, or at least going 50% more than the size of the property, and you can almost double the value. That becomes a good deal.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you look at deals. If someone came to me and said, well, here's a market value deal, I'm not even going to appraise it. It's a waste of 5 minutes. Why do you want to buy a market value deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. So everything I'm looking at the moment, well, there's two things. Two of them I think are off market. So either typically they've been to auction, they've come off again. I'm direct to the buyer or seller or something like that. So
that's how you're gonna be.
So in terms of this hotel, they just want to lease it long term. They want a long term lease.
So what are the numbers on that?
So let me just try to share. Can I share my screen?
Yes, of course. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
Let me see if it share screen. You can you do that now? Does it allow you?
No, post is
it will allow you now. It will allow you now. It will allow you now. Try. Okay. Yeah, hi Grace. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see this?
Of course I can. Yeah. It's in Leicester. For sale auction 12 December around Leicester. Please go ahead. Show me the brochure. Is this the hotel or is the residential 38-bed hotel? Okay.
Yeah, it's a hotel. It's got a restaurant and a bar as well.
Here's a first question that you need to have an answer to.
Yeah.
Who would be the user of this hotel? Do you have enough? First, why are they selling? Second is, do you have enough visitors in the region for the use of the hotel? How many hotels do you have in the region? These are the 3 questions you need to have an answer to start with. Okay.
Okay, so how many hotels?
How many hotels in the region?
Yeah.
What sort of competition? Why are they selling? How much are they asking for?
Yeah. So yeah, this is what I didn't understand. They said £153,000 rent.
So that's a lease hotel. Freehold hotel investment, and then it says rent at the bottom. Doesn't make sense, but I'm only assuming from what they've written that it's available for freehold as well as leasehold.
Yeah, so my contact between me and the seller, my contact is saying that they're looking for a long-term, someone to take on a long-term lease.
That could be a good deal. I would start this deal by looking at it from two perspectives, okay? One is, can we first of all give this to the Home Office asylum seekers? So there's a company called Serco. I would speak with Serco and say, what would they pay for this hotel? And would they take this hotel? Second is, if you were to run it yourself on a lease, then what would the numbers look like? So you can go to AirDNA, you can check some data, you can go to the local hotels websites and just say, how much are they charging? Go to booking.com, Expedia, hotels.com, Airbnb, AirDNA will give you some data. AirDNA does give you good data, but it's not as accurate as what you need.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need all of that information to take an informed decision. They're asking for 153,000. Can you divide that by 38?
Mm-hmm.
So they're asking about £4,000 a room per annum. Okay.
Yeah.
You can base your numbers on the spreadsheet from this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Serco is another good one. I have approached Serco. I've spoken with Serco a couple of times. Sometimes you can take on a lease like this. Landlord doesn't know. You sign up a lease, but in that you write, we can sublet it. And then you do go and sublet it to Serco. Let's say you pay 153 and then you go and charge 200 grand to Serco. All of a sudden you're sitting on passive income of 50 grand. I know a lot of people who are doing that as we speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if they've already got a contract with the Home Office?
You mean with Serco?
Yeah, if they've already got a contract with Serco, then is it still worthwhile?
If they did, why would they sell?
Yeah.
Remember, Serco takes these contracts on management basis. That means you do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. And they take your hotel and they tell you, okay, we are going to pay you X amount of money every year. Okay. That's done and dusted. So if you already have a contract, hypothetically, let's say, then I don't think why I see no reason for them to sell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
this is what I didn't understand because they've said
those are the questions you need answer to.
Sorry?
So those are the questions you need answers to. And this is all the data you can find online.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what I didn't understand. It says the income is 153,000, but then they're saying in the previous page the rent is 153. So I don't quite understand what that means.
So whosoever has done this brochure was probably sipping a coffee and enjoying the coffee rather than focusing.
Yeah, Irish coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I'll find a bit more about this. I've got a couple of other opportunities, but I don't want to take up everyone's time. If you've got
so let's do one by one. So I'll go through everyone and I'll come back to you so you can share with me another deal. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you want to stop sharing your screen?
Yeah.
All right, Grace. I'm gonna go to Grace, guys, if that's okay first, because Grace couldn't speak with me last time. Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so tell me, Grace, what's happening?
Nothing much actually. What happened is as you remember, I joined the franchise just recently.
Yes.
And I've got all this. Sorry, I'm trying to do so that I can open my camera, but I'm using my phone, so
It's okay.
I'm still at home though, but I'm just trying to get ready to go out. So I so I got all this spreadsheet and everything. Do I need to go?
Yeah, I'm looking at your sheet as we speak.
Yeah, do I need to, go to them, or what do I do? Because I don't even know where to start right now.
Yeah, so unless you don't join these sessions, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, because after you sent the only conversation we had was when I was going to join the
you've not joined the sessions after that, Grace. So let me do one thing, Grace. I am going, so after the session, can you quickly remind me? I'm going to direct you to about 5 or 6 videos that you need to watch.
Okay.
I've covered quite a bit of that.
Okay.
And then after that, you jump on a call with me or join one of these sessions and ask questions.
Okay, that's good then.
Because
like
I said, I've covered a lot of that ground.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But I will direct you to these videos specifically so you can go and watch them rather than being lost in the in all the numbers. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I will do that. No problem. Ahmed sir, do you have any questions?
Hi, Jack.
Yeah, hi.
I guess to start off with the list.
Let me open yours. I did look at your list. This was last week. It looked good to get going.
So you have all the development leads.
Yeah.
Now for
even block leads as well. I'm looking at them, and there are some really good mature leads, early 24, late 23, and then early 23 as well. You got some decent block leads as well there.
Yeah, on the block leads, because I guess there's a new format, which is the second half.
Yes.
The ones on the top is
an older format, yeah.
So I can just, well, most of them are still kind of fresh, so I guess.
Yeah. If you look at the top ones, most of them are not mature leads as much.
Yeah.
Except maybe 1, 2. Yeah, only 2 that I see mature on the top version. And then when you start looking at the bottom ones, there's quite a few mature ones.
Yes. So now on the block leads, I guess is what the process is, one that seems mature to try and go to site to see if they have moved to site.
Yeah, so a good question, Ahmed sir. Okay. I just had someone message me, one of the members, Bossman to be precise. He said, I've visited a couple of sites, and well, why are you visiting sites which may or may not be? Okay. It's 10 times easier. You look at the address, you go to the street view and say, what's happening? Why do you have to visit the site unless you can, sit at home and do this stuff? Okay. Visit the site when you have done your basic understanding of the deal and saying, okay, it's a block lead. You have nothing to do with this development. It was granted, let's say, 12 months ago. And now when you go on the street, you say, well, this looks ready and they're already doing the interiors and, good time, go and approach the landlord. Are you looking for the local management company to help you with this? Okay. You don't go if the deal was, let's say, granted 6 months ago, or even if 5 years ago, but no one has built anything. Okay. That's just basically looking at a deal and saying, I'm going to make sense before I invest my time into the deal of 20 minutes going up and down and not knowing what's happening. Okay. It's the same with even development deals, right? You look at a development deal and say, well, there is a potential there. What is the potential? Read all the numbers, understand all the numbers, go to the street view, go to the ordnance survey map. You can do the ordnance survey map for free. You can have the street view map for free. You can measure the site on Google for free. And that will give you a good, very good indication to, well, is it worth me now visiting the site? Okay. And then here is another thing I would do. I would go to that planning against steps deal, look at those 150 odd steps and say, which ones do I need to look at this moment or at any given moment to be able to take the next decision? Okay. Because when you look at those steps, some of them may look very random because the development process or the planning process is, there's no chronological order of things. Okay. You have to look at every step as and when you need it. There's no point looking at at site and abnormalities when you're looking initially, like at very initial stages of the deal. But then later on, as and when you go along and you get a positive indication from the landlord, you then start to look at the abnormals of the site. And yes, there are times when you might even get a positive indication from the landlord, you come back and there's something majorly wrong with the site and there's nothing you can do. Okay, but that's the name of the game. Okay, so at every step of the way, just going through that planning steps and saying, which ones do I need at this stage? A lot of that is just common sense. Some of it is technical, but majority is common sense. Okay, and it's just slowing down. And if you look at something, Ahmed sir, and say, well, I don't know if I should be looking at this aspect of the deal at this stage, just ask me. Say, well, I'm looking at this deal. I'm at this stage of the deal. Shall I be looking at this aspect of the deal? If it's very technical, even I can't do it. If it is basic stuff that you can find data online, we can do it. I can sometimes do even quite a lot of technical stuff as well on site. Okay, I can look at something as well. I've been through this process. I know this is how it was done. The likely is it's going to get done the same way. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so for the block leads, is to, like I said, do that a little bit of research, and then if it looks like yes, they're getting close to completion.
They're building it. Yeah, that's actually, as long as they build the shell, right? You've got the walls up, you've got the roof up. As long as you have that, it's a good time to approach. Yeah.
And then that's when you might go to site or to try to see how to get across to the
exactly
developer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the best time to approach is when someone has acquired or applied for planning, and you go and introduce yourself, say, well, I was checking that you've applied planning permission for 10 units, and it would be good if we can help you on your journey. Okay, and you just hand out your card and say, well, I'll help you on your journey. Okay, help you on your journey means this guy is going to come and say, well, can you do the valuation? Okay, you go and do valuation. Okay, how many times have we spoken with local estate agents to come and do valuations for absolutely free? If so, eventually they get business. Is enormous. Okay, you go and share your valuable insight. Your valuable insight comes from either me or the local data that you can find online, and you go and share it with them, and that helps you build more trust. Okay, and so the number of people I know who have tried building estate agencies and they fail is unbelievable. Okay, and the whole process is just not very difficult as long as you do it right. The best time to pick up business is when someone registers a company. The best time to pick up business is when someone applies for a planning permission. Not when it's applied, granted. By then, they've already probably spoken with 3 estate agents. Okay? And then remember, you are different from the other agents because you're not an estate agent, but you are a management company. And you only deal with Airbnb style model. You don't do, I'm going to rent your property out to someone local. You don't do that stuff. So you are already different from other companies in the local region.
So then, by what you're saying, though, with these leads that we're getting, even if it's from what you're saying, though, we have a list on there that, or an item on there that is just recently applied, isn't it worth then trying to get across
Just
to?
approach, yeah, just go. If you can find the person, you don't have to even visit him, right? If you can find the basic details, write him up a postcard. When you're driving past, that's the whole, we call it proximity is power, right? It's not just proximity is power as in people. Proximity is power when you're doing things around as well. You don't have to go to a site. If it's in your region, you're driving past anyway. It's just pre-planning. I'm going to go and drop a postcard in this property when I go past and pick up the mail. Okay, it's planning your day ahead. Go to the spreadsheet and say, I have looked at this deal. I understand the numbers. I'm going to drop a postcard on Friday morning when I'm going for something else. Or maybe I just enjoy Costa Coffee and this Costa Coffee is right beside this property. An excuse to have a nice coffee.
But because sometimes when you might find if you do some research into the planning, maybe the person that did the planning, they're not local, or maybe they're a developer, or they have a company. And there was a few that I was going
Write
through.
a letter.
I saw on the company's house.
Yep.
There was
Write
one.
a
He
letter.
had several companies. They were all based in the British Virgin Islands.
Yeah, the British Islands. Yeah, it's all taxation, right? All tax savings. Yeah. Just write a letter.
But sometimes, because well, yeah, I guess it's just a letter. Sometimes the address they might put on there is their accountants, but they might still share
write
it
a
with them,
letter.
so yeah.
Write a letter. No problem at all. Write a letter. Look, here is what happens, okay? I remember sharing this it's very interesting how sometimes people look at something and this is a completely wrong perspective. Okay? You don't need to do 200 deals in your life. You only need to do about 20 deals to build a portfolio worth 20 million. Okay? So if you write 1,000 letters to pick up one deal, multiply that by 20, how many letters is that? 20,000 letters. Okay? How long does it take to print 20,000 letters? No time. Do you know why? There are companies out there these days that when you give them data, they will write the letters for you, they will post it for you, they will do the whole lot for you. Right from A to Z, all of it delegated. Yes, it costs money, but if you're going to delegate it, it is going to cost you money. Okay? I am not a fan of letters. Okay? I am not. I want to see the people. I want to see the person behind this. Irrespective of how difficult it is to find that person, I will go and find him. Okay, that's me. Okay, so here is what happens. Okay, I remember I built a good relationship with an estate agent, and eventually he was getting a bit awkward with me because he had shown me a lot of deals and I'd not bought one, even though I'd done 5 deals before that with him. So when he was being awkward with me, I went back to him and said, look, Paul, tell me how many, his name was Paul. I said, how many people do you know in your life who's done 5 deals with you in under 2 years? And all of a sudden his tone changed. How many people do you think would have done 5 deals in 2 years with an estate agent? Not many. Yeah. So I stood out for being annoying him, but also the one that's giving him the most business. Okay. Yes, I was annoying him because I want you to do some work, bring me some decent deals. Okay. So now he's kind of changed his business model. Don't even bother. I don't call him. I don't do nothing. What he does is he takes on properties these days and takes them to auction. But if you're going to take every deal to the auction and not give it to me, good luck. Go and find business elsewhere. Okay. And I sometimes see some of those deals sitting on auction sites for 2 years, 3 years. Okay. Good luck if you don't know how to do business. And what I have done in the meantime is I've got people on the ground visiting people, picking his business directly with the vendors. So either you do business or I'm going to take the business away from you. That's for him, right? So the question is, are you going to be the people person, as in with amazing interpersonal skills and really understand business? Or are you just going to be there and say, well, I've done 30 viewings and you've not bought a property. Well, I'm the one who bought the most properties from you in the first place. But you're just showing me crappy deals. What can I do? Okay. So it's understanding basics. It's not, a lot of it is common sense. And here is something interesting, Ahmed sir. The more I slow down, the more I introspect, the more I question everything, the more common sense becomes more common sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people don't do this, right? They don't slow down and say, well, what you're doing, does it even make sense? Okay. Does this deal make sense on papers? Like, you see, when you are doing, let's say, a dissertation, right? You are trying to fit a theory into your perspective, right? But there's a difference between the theory in and itself making sense. You can take any theory and fit it into something, while the theory in and itself, without you bringing your bias into it, making sense. A lot of people look at deals, they try and fit their own assumptive numbers into the deal and try and make it work. So you're going to look at a deal, you look at all the data and say, does this deal actually work on paper without your opinion? And if the answer is yes, you do the deal. If the answer is no, yeah, I see enough deals on the table where the GDV has come from thin air, and you question the GDV, and all of a sudden they start to get annoyed. Why are you getting annoyed? Well, you're questioning my GDV. Yes, I am. I'm being objective. Okay? Because I see enough GDVs out there which are absolutely bizarre. Right? A house that's worth only $500,000, they go and write 700 just so they can go to the lender and say, can you lend me money? Okay? I see it all day long. All day long. Okay? So you have to be very objective with numbers, irrespective of your own opinion. Okay? Remember, you are in TW postcode, right?
Yeah.
Look at, here is a big example for you. You're in Isleworth, as in before the roundabout. After the roundabout, you go into Twickenham. What happens to property prices?
Yeah, it's a big difference, a big jump.
And then you go from Twickenham, a traffic light up, and you walk into Richmond.
Yeah.
And what happens to property prices?
Doubles.
Exactly. Don't share. No, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, don't share your opinion. Tell me objectively that you understand the region. I know Middlesex really well. Okay? Like, I know that I can look at one house and the next one is beyond the boundary of this town and it's worth at least 30 or 40% more. I know that. So, but you need that understanding of the region to make informed decisions. I'll tell you another one, right? I had someone approach me, I want to buy this piece of land in Croydon. He ended up buying the piece of land for £250,000. He paid 50% deposit on a bridge loan. He borrowed 50%. And then later, after buying, when he wanted to develop it, realized that he paid the price of the posh side of Croydon for the not so posh side of Croydon. The piece of land was at least 30% less than the $250,000 that he paid. Just because he did not know the difference between the nice side of Croydon and the crappy side of Croydon. If you are going to develop something, you must, how long does it take to find if it's a nice side or crappy side? A walk of 10 minutes. I woke up 10 minutes. 10 minutes would have saved him 30% of $250,000, 75 odd grand or whatever that he lost. When he was trying to develop, he didn't even develop it. I think he ended up selling it. I don't know. I didn't follow up with him, but I think he probably ended up losing 70, 80 odd grand. Okay, I see this all day long. A developer who was developing, in fact, she was developing at one point £120 million worth of active developments on ground. She ended up doing one deal wrong, one deal. She built a £5 million property in Chelsea and just could not sell it. She got wiped out. I can even give you the name of the girl. He's on my Facebook. Okay. She had cash flow issues because of the 5 million stuck in the deal. Then she ended up having problem with her builder. Eventually, that is a court case that's still ongoing. But in that moment of her peak, she was developing property worth 120 million GDP. At the moment, she's not developing, she's not doing anything, she's only a consultant. You have to be careful, okay? And that's the whole purpose of me being here, okay? I have seen this journey many fold over with different people who have got funding from me, and I've been lucky to be in this position to look at a deal and say, well, this is not going to work for you, okay? Another one that I've shared, I think previously as well, I was working with someone, they had a 25 million pound portfolio. They had a difficult time with the builder with a 130 grand bill. They didn't pay, ended up paying 1.3 million in fees and court cases, and eventually the judge ordered 1.3 million. They came to me, they'd refinanced their whole portfolio to a leverage of 14 million plus. I did their funding of 14 million pound. They paid the builder 1.3 million because that was ordered from the court. And they were literally at a point of zero passive income from a 25 million portfolio. Okay. So the next time you have a problem with a builder and he says, you know what, you owe me 5 grand, pay him. Because there's no point going to court unless you can prove otherwise. Okay. So it's all in the deals. It's all in the devil is in the detail. The better agreement you have with the builder, the more safer you are. The more detail you put into the schedule of works, the easier it is. You prepare the whole, I call it the whole deck, right? Prepare the whole deck and give someone an informed decision. Give it to a buyer to make an informed decision. I remember I got this deal done where it was a piece of, well, it was a detached house. We sold the option agreement for 1.725 million. I was an agent on the deal. I had 50,000 pound overage on the deal. Plus I was getting paid by the seller. Eventually he pulled out. We didn't get the deal done. Then it was sold to someone else, by someone else, not even me. But the only reason for that deal going wrong was that even though we had provided them with a full deck, as in all the documents they can imagine, all the technical reports were given, all the full detailed appraisal was given, a detailed report of abnormalities on the site was given, everything was given. The only thing that I didn't make sure was to ask them, have you read everything that's been given to you? And the likely is they didn't. And that's exactly why the deal didn't go through. Okay. So it's all about being as detailed as possible. Okay. Now, when I'm speaking with a builder, like I said, I don't want to speak with builders. But let's say if I have to speak with a builder, I'm now at the moment, the thinking behind me is I want to build something for myself. Okay. So I have to speak with a builder, right? Me speaking with a builder at this stage is I'm getting a very detailed JCT agreement. I'm going to have the schedule of works prepared before I even approach a builder, and even down to the name of the company of the electric material that I'm going to use, the name of the carpet, the company carpet that I'm going to use, the name of the sofa that I'm going to use, the name of the lights that I'm going to use, down to the most smallest detail that you can imagine. That would go on the schedule of works. That would be given to the builder. The builder will then quote me based on that. I will get minimum 3 quotations, and then I'll pick the one that's given me the best quotation based on the smallest detail. Okay, so even when you look at an electric switch, I'm going to give them the name of the company and the kind that I'm going to use. Okay, and that's when you have less problem with builders. Okay, they will still come and dig the ground and say, well, there's a problem here and I'm going to charge you 5 grand more. That's still going to happen. Okay, but at least you save the hassle by going into as much detail as possible. Okay, and all of this, you don't have to remember. Put it on a spreadsheet. Everything that you can imagine under the sun, I can give you a spreadsheet for that. I mean, anything that you can imagine under the sun, I can give you a spreadsheet of that. If I don't have it, I will find it for you and I'll give it to you. That's how you take decisions. Do not come and share with me your opinion. If you give me something, I'm going to ask you the data behind it. It's very, very simple. It's not a game of assumption. It's not a game of opinion. It's objective data that you need to be able to justify the deal that you're going to work on. That's justifying your time investment as well as your money investment. If you bring me a deal that's worth maybe 5 million GDV or 10 million GDV, I take it to an investor. How detailed that guy is, do you think he's going to be? Very detailed. Okay. In fact, I know one deal in my life that went really south, right? I brought the investors in. I brought the debt funding in. It was a 6 million GDV project in Isleworth. Okay. And eventually it went south because the developer turned out to be dishonest. Okay. Now, I still don't think I'm good enough to learn someone's intentions. I can read the body language, but that only goes so far. Okay. So the cost of the project was 4.2 million. Eventually, it cost the whole project like 5 million. The developer brought in 150 grand. We brought in roughly just shy of 5 million for the project. The guy still owes me 76 grand fee, which I'm taking him court. I'm taking this to small court, claims court. Okay. So you just have to be more detailed. Things go wrong, things go south. You know, the investors were not happy. The developer wasn't happy. They didn't pay our fee. The cost of the project went by 20% just because he was stealing money from the project. Part of the journey. Okay. Nowadays, if I'm funding a deal, I am controlling the project too. So there's no way that the developer has full access to all the money in his account and he can do whatever the hell he likes. No. There's a control on the account. He can only spend £2,000 as maximum. Anything more than that has to be approved by the investors, which is me controlling the deal. When I'm controlling the deal, overseeing the deal, I'm charging a percentage based on that as a project manager. And we kind of go from there. That way, we control the deal. It doesn't go anywhere. All the numbers are objectively there. You know, the worst thing that happens normally in a case like this is you make a little less profits. Yeah. I hope I'm not going on hurting your head, Ahmed sir.
No, that's some good, a lot of good information.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just sharing with you the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
Okay? So you just have to be prepared for all of it. But like I said, the more detailed you are, the less trouble you will.
I'm sure I'll be coming across a lot of some of these challenges. Just getting.
Oh yeah, you will.
Get started and get moving on some of these leads.
But here it is, right? When you look at a deal, Look at it from the basic. So, okay, here is something everyone can do, right? This is recorded, so those who are watching, they can do this as well, okay? Go back to the planning gain steps sheet. Go through the list. Pick a deal and say, which steps do I need to look at it now? Which ones do I need to look at it later? Which ones do I need to look at it? It's almost like preparing, what's that graph called when you prepare the schedule of works? I keep forgetting that. When you prepare a schedule of works, there's a graph that gets used where it shows, you know, week 1, week 2, week 3. What's that graph called?
Not sure.
I can't remember. I can check it. Sorry?
Gantt? The Gantt chart you're talking about?
Yes, Gantt chart. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So you put it as week 1, week 2, week 3, you know, week 366 or whatever that is, and look at it, the deal, and say, well, how is this working in weeks wise? That's what you got to do. And it all starts from that planning gain steps sheet. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how you got to do it. Is it a lot of work? Yes. I've been through this process many, many times, guys. Okay? I can look at a project and say, well, this is going to take X amount of time. Pre-planning things as much as you can. We are going through one finance, one refinance. And this was planned almost 24 months ahead. Okay? Now, when we complete this, and I'm keeping fingers crossed we complete it soon, you know, that will allow us to take that money and leverage it elsewhere. Okay? But it's all pre-planned stuff. I already know the timeline. Does that timeline get messed up? Yes, all the time. But you still have to have a timeline. Okay? Go back to your deal sheet. Stop preparing your own notes. Go to the street view, see what's really happening there. Check on the landlord or the owner of the property. Who is he? Is he on LinkedIn? Is he on Facebook? So on and so forth. Basic information. You're driving past. Plan your day well, as in the sense when you're looking at deals, you can actually, so the media actually knows this even more than me, but you can actually take a spreadsheet, dump the whole thing into Google Maps, and then you can plan your day around it. Okay? So you dump it, and then all of a sudden, let's say you've got 40 visits, and then you can plan your route around it, save you time. Okay? But do your basic appraisal first before you visit, because if you're visiting the site and the guy only applied, let's say he only got permission granted 2 months ago or 2 days ago, then there's nothing going to be on the site. No point you going to the site. It's you going to where he lives. Okay, and if he lives far away, then you write a letter. Okay? Or a second-class stamp with a postcard. Okay? Postcards stand out more than letters.
Or like you said, if you find them on some of the social media, like on LinkedIn or something.
Message them. Yeah, message them. Listen, guys, I still have a team that messages at least 200 people on LinkedIn every day. Okay? So you don't generate business by, you know, you have to cold call people. That's a part of the process. If you get a message from me from LinkedIn, guys, it's not me. I mean, it's me, but it's not me.
Yeah.
This has actually happened. You know, some members would message the inner circle members or the franchise members, and they'd be like, well, what's happening, Jack? Don't worry, it's not me, it's my team who's networking. They don't know it's you. So yeah. Okay. Any more questions, Ahmed sir?
The last thing is to do with the hotel leads.
Yeah.
I was going through them now, you know, just quickly analyzing them, trying to get a little bit of information.
Yeah.
A few of them I found that they're owned by the Young & Co Brewery PLC, because they might be a pub and a hotel.
Yes, they can be a part of the big chain. What's his name?
Yeah. Sorry?
There's a big chain of pubs, right? They own a lot of hotels and pubs and all sorts. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about. This one, Young & Co Brewery PLC.
Yeah, Young & Co is the biggest one. Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest ones. Yeah. So no point approaching them. No point approaching them. I have approached them. If you want to try, be my guest.
And then for the others, again, is just to try to, I mean, I guess you'd have to, for the hotels anyways, is walk into the hotel and see if you can get across to the owner.
Here is a request for everyone. Please, you don't use the word try. English has a lot of crappy words. Okay? Don't use the word. There's no trying. You're building a business. You are building a business. There are stats out there that will tell you it takes 3 years to build a sustainable business. And that depends on the skills that you already bring onto the table. I'll give you an example. This is something you can actually go and see online. If you make 100 grand in your job, and now you decide, I'm going to start a business, it will take you 3 years to build a business that's going to pay you 100 grand. Now, let's say you make £1 million in your job. Now you go and start a business. It will take you 3 years precisely to get to £1 million. Can you make this process faster? Yes. That's exactly why I'm here. Okay? But just be aware that there's no magic wand. The 3 years process cannot be squeezed to 12 months. Okay? It can be shortened, but it all depends on your effort and how much you bother me and build your business. I keep telling everyone, look, I am available. You ask me questions. For me to be able to answer your questions, it doesn't take forever. Like it's, in most cases, any question you ask me, I would have an answer within 5 minutes. Have it answered within 5 minutes, okay? In some cases, I may not even have the answer and say, you know what, I don't have the answer, let me go and find it, okay? Very rarely that you would come to me, that's something that's gonna take an hour, okay? Because you're not coming to me for an appraisal. I'm not appraising your deal. I will appraise it if I see the first level, a good one, and you just don't know the second level, okay? I will do it on a session, I would record it for everyone to watch it, and then you can go and do it yourself, okay? But it would be very rare that for you to come to me and say, here is a question, and it would take me forever. So ask me questions, and your questions would be based on your deals. The more you approach landlords, the more you start to dig your teeth into the deal. Imagine this, right? I'll show you an overview, okay? Let's say you look at 100 development deals on your list. Okay, let's say you look at 100. Let's say your closure rate is on the lower end of 1%. Okay, let's say it's 1%. It's normally between 1 to 3%, but let's say it's 1%, okay? Let's say there's one deal out of that 100 that actually really, you're gonna get a yes from the landlord, and it's gonna make you £1 million. For you to be able to get to that one deal out of the 100, you have to dig your teeth into the 100. Okay, the more you do, the more faster it gets, and you will get to a point where you look at a deal and say, well, in 1 minute, you'd be able to look at a deal and say, well, is it going to work or not? And if the answer is yes, you just jump on to the next phase of it. You go through the due diligence phase, you approach the landlord, and the faster you do, the faster you'll close deals. Okay, and like I said, when you approach the landlord, I've shared with you a certain way to approach a landlord. Never, ever, ever talk numbers on the first meeting. All you're doing there is just to get to know the person and share who you are. Once you've done that, and if he still keeps insisting, you tell him that, look, I will come back with a number, I promise you, the second time I come to meet you. Let me do some due diligence and tell him that, look, if I was to give you a number from thin air, it's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do us any good. Okay? Just be very objective about the way you're dealing with this. And remember, logic and objectivity does not build rapport. Please bear in mind, you build rapport with emotions. But then once you've gone past the stage of emotions and rapport and trust, then you just need to be very, very objective the way you tackle questions. Okay? And then that's when you come to me and say, well, I've got a positive indication from a landlord. He seems interested. What's the next step? Then that's when we look at the deal deeper. We go into those planning game steps. We take one by one slowly, because those steps can take a very, very long time. But you still have to tick off all of those steps. Okay? Even something as simple as that you apply for, well, let's say you're considering applying for a planning permission. But the transportation in the region does not allow for more people coming into the town. You're going to get rejected for that. Okay? You need to be able to check this data online and say, does this region allow for more people coming into the town if I was building 20 flats? This is all on the spreadsheet, guys. It's all on the spreadsheet. All of this data is available. All of these steps are available. It's all for you to just dig deeper. That's what it is. Okay. Any more questions, Ahmed sir?
No, that's it for now.
Okay, all right. Okay. Punit, do you have any questions, buddy?
Yeah, so there's a couple of other developments I needed help with just to make sure I know what I need to find out, because there's one just here in Brentwood, which both of these developments are actually with the same owner.
Mm-hmm.
They're at a point where the planning has all been done. He's planning to develop, but he's happy to sell them as they are right now.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I think it's just open to so I suppose he can release his funds and go get in with another project. But he's quite flexible like that. And he's got an interesting one where he's looking to get an investment to buy a house in North London and convert it to 2 houses. And the investor would get one of those houses for that investment. That's their return.
Get the numbers. Yeah, just
Sorry?
my request, Punit, is get the numbers. Let's look at the overview. Only then I'm able to kind of answer your questions. Okay.
Yeah.
And just remember one more thing, guys. This stuff is important. Every time I mention this, but it's always a good reminder. When you are asking this question to a landlord, why are you selling? Please be aware it's not what they say. Try to listen to what they're not telling you. Okay? You need to find the actual reason to why someone is selling. Okay? You must have the right reason for someone selling. Otherwise, someone is probably selling you something that they just don't know what to do with. Okay? I remember someone had come to me, I want to buy this deal. Why is the landlord selling? Well, he's selling because he's ill. Okay? Eventually, he found out that he had applied for planning permission multiple times and he got refused and he just couldn't do it anymore. Okay? This data is not very difficult to find, is it? Okay? Well, the guy took probably 3 months to find this data. Takes 3 minutes. And for 3 months, he was wasting his time. And unfortunately, me being a broker, he was wasting mine too. These days, I'm careful. Okay? So if you can get all the data, I will be able to answer your questions in a lot more detail. Okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, yeah. So I've got the main figures in terms of what he's willing to sell at, his build costs. I've got his build costs. I've got the planning.
Build costs are very easy these days. I can do them pretty quickly.
Yeah. But so looking through that, because aside from like you said, build costs and the average price per foot, things like that, there's all these other costs in there which I could
professional
find out.
fees, finance cost, all of that. Yeah.
How would you find out finance costs? Because is that not dependent on
I can do
who
it
and
very
when?
quick. I can do it for you. It's not very difficult.
Yeah.
Depending on how long a project takes, let's say a project takes 2 years. Okay. In that case, I would probably take it as 20%. So 10% every year. But if a project only takes about 6 months, then you can get away with as little as 5%. Yeah. So I can do those numbers very accurately for you. Yeah. Okay. Remember, the money is all phased. So when you're doing a project, you don't take all the money. The lender doesn't give you all the money in once, right? It gives you phased money. Okay. And then you only pay interest on the money that's borrowed. You don't pay money on the whole loan that has been approved for the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how does the fact that if it's a mixed development, so you retail units and flats, how does that sort of impact the numbers?
They will give you, they will give you one number. They'll just give you one number. It's not like we're going to lend you money for the commercial separately, and unless it's a very large project, that would be a different story. You know, if it's 100 commercials downstairs and then 500 flats upstairs, that would be completely different. Okay.
Yeah.
But if we are looking at 2 or 3 commercials downstairs with 10, 20, 30 flats upstairs, then it's just a one approved loan. And then within that, you would get, like, here is the money that we're going to release for phase 1. Here's the money we're going to release for phase 2. And then you only pay interest for the money that's borrowed, and then you pay accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't mind just showing you at some point, because I think I've got most of the figures, but I'm just not sure what it all means.
Put them on a spreadsheet. Put them on a spreadsheet. Put them. Once you put them on a spreadsheet, it takes 5 minutes. If you don't put them on a spreadsheet, then you wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I'll put it all on that spreadsheet. I'll put it all on that development spreadsheet. So it's all on there now.
That's good.
So
once you have the full figures, share it with me. Okay. Damir, do you have any questions, buddy?
I just wrote you that if you could share the link for in the Google Drive for the planning steps. I lost it somehow. Anyway.
I've shared it in the group as well, literally 3-4 days ago.
Okay, I'll find it in the group.
Yeah, it's just I think I shared like 3-4 days ago.
Because before I had it in my Google Drive.
No, I've actually removed the links for everyone, because I've given the access to a lot of people. So I've shared it in the group, like I said, about literally 2-3 days ago.
Okay, no problem. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I didn't come to the numbers yet, but I saw also with this visiting with Google all these sites. Many are these big builders. Yeah. And I'm just wondering whether you suggest we go to the big builders, because they have the regeneration of the whole site, and there is like huge buildings. And
please, guys, do not assume anything, irrespective of how big they are. Let's say it's one of the biggest builders in the country. Okay, Barrett's or whatever it is, right? There are times that these companies want to manage, and there are times that these companies do not want to manage. Okay. So do not assume anything, always just approach. Okay. Every project has a different project manager. Every project is with a separate department. It's not like one team is looking after everything. Okay. So just don't hesitate approaching and finding out what is it that they're thinking. It doesn't take too long. It takes about 5 minutes of your time. And I promise you, once you go through the process, you will know what exactly to do.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Grace, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just listening. I'm listening for now.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Good. Moro, do you have any questions?
Yes, Jack. If possible, Jack, to have a call with you or something, because I've been, Jack, away with family. Sorry, my in-laws came here for the past 2 weeks, Jack. So I feel like I'm nowhere else. I don't know where I am. So I just need to catch up.
All right. Give me a call. Give me a call. Either later today, or tomorrow, sort of afternoon time. No problem.
Okay, yeah. Okay, no worries, Jack. No worries. I'll do that.
But guys, just here is a request for you, okay? Come to me with specific questions, okay? If you don't have specific questions, it doesn't quite help anyone, okay? You need to dig deeper into the deals. You need to start approaching landlords. And once you have more specific questions, I would feel that you're actually putting some work in. Here is a joke for the morning, right? I went to the gym, and one of the instructor was instructing someone else, oh, do this. And then I look back and say, yeah, it's all about doing it.
Yeah.
No point walking into the gym and start learning all the numbers if you're not actually going to pick the dumbbell up and do some work.
Yeah.
Okay. And this applies to business. Unless you don't start visiting these landlords, visiting these developers, no point you coming to these sessions and asking me any questions, because it'll all be just numbers. It's not going to improve your health, as in your financial health.
Jack, just a quick one. You were mentioning about landlords on being on the sheet. I think mine don't have it, Jack.
Sorry, say that again.
I think earlier you said, maybe I heard wrong, that our sheets contain the landlords, the name or something. Maybe I
Yeah,
heard
so
wrong.
every sheet would have the address.
Yeah.
It would have the name of the landlord. It would
Oh,
have
right,
the
okay.
address.
I heard wrong. Sorry, that was me.
And then you can dig deeper into the addresses from company's house in some cases, while others, if it is private landlords, there's nothing you can do. You can just visit. Okay. Right. I'm not a massive believer of buying titles unless I am pretty sure that the deal does stack. Okay, because you could be buying. I actually came across someone who paid like £5,000 buying titles and not even done one deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not a massive fan of that, unless, like I said, unless you have to in some cases, which when you do, you do. Okay.
Yeah, Jack, just one quick one before you go.
Yeah.
Very one quick one. I went to the gym this morning, just like you, and on the way, Jack, there's a street here, very close to me, that has a property completely barricaded. It's got, you know, those things to keep squatters out. Those
squatters out. Yeah.
So it's got that. Obviously, Jack, the property is, you know, vacant. There's no one there. Anything.
Yeah.
In that street, Jack, alone, in that street alone, all houses sell for 1.2 million. On that street alone. Because it's right next to Clock House. It's right in front of the gym, and it's 5-minute walk to Beckenham. So, Jack, it's literally, they all sell for 1.2 million, even more, 1.5, 1.6. I was just wondering, Jack, you know, because we're doing development deals as well, if there's anything that can be done on that one, because
here is what everyone needs to do. I'm going to answer your question, Moro.
Okay.
If you come across something like this, you put it on the spreadsheet.
Okay.
As another deal to look at, as in, let's say, if it's a development deal or a refurb deal, put it on the spreadsheet. And then at the same time, write in your notes saying, I have added this deal. Could someone look at this deal?
Gotcha.
And then message me or email me, especially email me, because when you email me, it becomes my task. Okay, if you WhatsApp me, it's not a task, it's just a message. But if you email me something, it becomes a task. When it becomes a task, it gets done. Okay. If you specially send me an email, send me a WhatsApp message, and put it on the spreadsheet, and then your message says, Jack, this is a really good deal. I've appraised some of the numbers, looks pretty good, and we need to move this quickly. I will look at it quickly. But if you just do half-ass job and then expect me to respond to it, that's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to that, Jack.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, because I think, Jack, I think it could be a good deal.
Yeah. So look, before you expect me to put time, I need to see you putting in time into the deal. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
You've done your basic appraisal, that whatever understanding you have at this stage, and then you put it on the spreadsheet. You've sent me a message and you've emailed it to me, and then I can see you're actually serious and you've done some work, and then I can look at the deal and say, does it work or not? Takes about 5 minutes.
Jack, where's that appraisal link you said? Which WhatsApp group? You said you put it on the group.
It's a franchise group. I've sent all the appraisals, guys. Here's guys, very, very important. Okay. Yes. If you don't read messages, if you don't see your trainings, if you don't come to these sessions, if you don't put the work in, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Check your messages. It's the franchise main group. Even if I don't check my messages for 5 days, I would still go back to that group and I'd read every single message of everyone. Okay? That's what it takes to be serious about your business. Okay?
So, Jack, you're talking about the PIN franchise for life, yeah?
Yes.
Franchise family for life, okay.
Yeah, I have shared all the appraisals in there. I've shared all the trainings in there. Yep. Sorry, Demi, you were saying something?
I was saying 14th of January. I found it.
Yeah, so I've shared, I've shared all the appraisals in there. Yeah. I've shared everything in there. Just go back and scroll and say what's really happening in there. Okay. When you look at Alan's progress, guys, very, very, very little to do with me, and everything to do with Alan himself. He's very motivated. He's driven. He is learning. He's all over it. Okay. All I'm doing is holding him accountable. Okay. I'm sharing technical stuff. I'm sharing everything that I share with you guys. He's just putting the work in. He is really putting the work in. Okay. Okay. It's not about me. I mean, I wouldn't even take a fraction of the credit of what he's doing a lot of work. And he's taking risks. Guys, he's signed up on a deal, exchanged on a deal already. Even I wouldn't dare. Okay. Because there was a risk mitigation. There was one step of risk mitigation, which I kept insisting him to do, which was parking. And he's gone ahead and exchanged, even without that risk being mitigated. Oh. So it's one thing having knowledge. It's one thing doing the work, and sits right at the core of being an entrepreneur and growing is courage. Okay. And he's showing that courage. You know, I have taken risks, but now these days, I'm very objective when it comes to risks. I would invest only into a deal which has all the major risks mitigated. The minor ones I'm okay with, right? You lose 10 grand here, 20 grand there, 30 grand here in a deal. That's okay. But if you're going to lose $500,000 in a deal, that's a problem. Yeah, okay. So he has even gone ahead and exchanged on a deal with no parking on site. Okay. Now you see the laugh that you had, Moro, was, well, that's not a good idea. But he's doing it. He's doing it. And I can assure you from where I'm looking at it, he's likely going to get access from somewhere to even provide parking. And he's going to walk away with $500,000 profits. Okay. So it's all about determination and sometimes taking those risks as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Worst case scenario is that he has to put the prices down, and instead of $500,000, he may just walk away with 200 grand. Either way, he's walking away with something. Yeah. Yeah. And remember, if things, let's say, do go south, and instead of making $500,000, he walks away with 200 grand or even 100 grand, that is a big learning curve. Yeah. Yeah. So you know. Any more questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, I was coming to you, Anara. Yes.
Okay. I can ask now. Okay.
Yes.
Number one, when are you coming to London? Rough dates.
February.
February, beginning, end of.
No, later part of Feb. Later part of Feb.
Later Feb, because I have to think about this also.
Yes, later Feb, because we are about to close this deal that I've been talking about. The valuation happened yesterday, so legals have already most of it completed. So I'm keeping fingers crossed that we close this deal and I come to grab the keys.
Okay. And second question, I have a derelict house. I think I can check everything and
check everything, send it to me, and then I'll have a look at it. Guys, I have absolutely no problem looking at deals, because that's exactly how you get deals done. Okay? But I would only look at a deal when you've put some work into it. If you randomly, here is what happens in the network, guys. So
I already started to check.
So here is what happens with the network. Okay, when you're running a network like I do, okay, people would forward you a deal, which already you can tell is a forwarded message. They put zero work in themselves, and they'd ask you to look at the deal for them. My answer normally to them is, you're gonna pay £1,000 an hour for my time if you want me to look at the deal. Okay? Because I'm not gonna put any work in if you've not put the work in already.
Okay.
Okay? I am not, and I'm not saying in a disrespectful way. I'm a very respectful person, but I'm not gonna put the work if you've not even put the basic work in yourself. Okay? Once you put some work in yourself and you can see the deal works, you come to me, and then we can work towards it together.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Put it on the spreadsheet. put it besides the notes. I've added this deal, and here's what the numbers look like. Then send me a WhatsApp message, and then send me an email with those numbers. It's always, remember, copy paste. Once you write it, it goes on the spreadsheet same, it goes on the email same. But then what it does is it just creates that task for me to look at and say, well, here's a deal, we can get it over the line. Okay.
Yes.
Either it is a block lead, a hotel lead, or a planning gain deal. That's what we are talking about. In fact, here is an interesting one. I had someone approach me yesterday. It was, he's actually a part of the, the group as well. And he was sharing a deal with me, and he was saying, would you fund a deal like that? So look, I'd only fund a deal when all the major risks are mitigated. And then you've done a very, very, very good due diligence on it. And then you bring me that deal, and that's when I will go and look at getting it funded. Okay. Yeah. So this was yesterday. He's, like I said, in the group, and I said to him, I said, look, once you look at this deal, you then have to make a comparison in your head in terms of effort and reward. And if you are putting the effort in, and if it's worth the reward, then you go ahead and do it. If you look at it and say, well, I can maybe make twice the money somewhere else doing something else, then you just play with the planning gain part. You don't develop it. That's how you got to look at it. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Anyone else has any questions? All right, guys, I'm going to...
Something very quickly, if it's okay. I was trying to find this last night, and I wasn't sure how. I couldn't find a definitive. I think I've got the right answer. But if someone's got a property in a company, and they say, look, I'm happy to sell you the shares to the company, so to minimize stamp duty.
Yeah.
Does it minimize it to zero, or is there some? So I think you still pay like 0.5%.
I have never bought one myself.
Okay.
We can easily find this information online. I can check it for you as well, Puneet.
I think it's 0.5% from what I've seen. But I didn't want to,
Okay, but here is one thing you need to be very careful about. Okay, if you ever buy anything under a limited company, and obviously very good reason is to save the stamp duty. Just be aware that you get it in writing that anything that's happened in the company before you took over the company, that you're not responsible. Because sometimes, someone has borrowed money from someone, given a charge, that's obvious on the register. But if sometimes people borrow money based on a property, but they don't give a charge, that can go against you if you don't get it in writing that you're not responsible for anything that happens before that in the company. Okay?
Yeah.
So make sure it goes through legals like that. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, fine. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Like I said, I think it is 0.5. We'll check it.
Sure. All right.
We'll check it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Good stuff. Any more questions, guys? Here is the last one, which I can leave with you so you can remember this. Okay. Next time you want to save stamp duty on a, let's say, like a BRR deal. Okay. If it doesn't have a habitable kitchen and a bathroom, for a property to be considered for a mortgage, it has to be habitable. Habitable means a working kitchen and a bathroom. And when you take out the kitchen and the bathroom, or one or the other, it's not habitable. And if it is not habitable, you don't have to pay stamp duty.
All right.
And a lot of people do this. Okay. I'm going to share with you, but don't, it all depends on how you live your life and the decisions ethically you take. I know a lot of people who would walk into a property, pull out the kitchen just to save stamp duty. Okay? Pull out the kitchen and you don't have to pay stamp duty. Okay? And then put the kitchen back.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Okay. But just be aware that don't make it too obvious, because if HMRC comes after you, then you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, Jack, if you're going to do it the right way.
Do it the right way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid about it.
Yeah.
Don't have the banana and leave the skin just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have an amazing day. All right. Bye.
I'll message you. Okay.
All right. Take care. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Bye.
Thank you.